Hello there. What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the Spider Droid. We got ourselves a unit card preview, and it is time to discuss how this thing is going to interact with some of the new keywords that were just basically previewed in the rules reference update. And basically the timing on some of these, or some of its capabilities. This is a strange unit card. We're going to talk about it today. Also, the height of this beautiful mini. Look at how tall that thing is. So we're going to talk about all of this stuff in today's video. If you guys are new here, if you haven't already, make sure you enter to win that $25 Amazon gift card. That's going to be to anybody who is a subscriber, and leave a comment on one of my videos, or like this one. Just let me know how many spider droids you're thinking of getting, or what is one of your favorite units in the Clone Wars. I also want to know what you guys think we need to see in the next wave, because we've been getting a lot of Clone Wars stuff. You know, do you think we should go back to Empire or Rebels? What do you think the next wave is going to feature as far as which faction? But let's talk a little bit more about the Spider Droid in this video, because we got ourselves, look at, dude, it like barely fits on the base there, right? Look at that, like Spider Droid, it does whatever makes you annoyed. Like my singing, 'cause it's so bad. The Spider Droid never met his dad, because he's just a Spider Droid. All right, that's that. I just lost 5 subscribers, maybe 15. DSD1 Dwarf Spider Droid unit card here at 55 points. It's a common points level for a lot more of our supports that we're getting lately, isn't it? We have, we have one of the new programming upgrade cards. Of course, we've got a hard point and comms, of course, because all the separatists have comms. No ranged weapon built in on this thing, which means, I guess, if you were to run it without a ranged weapon, you just have a little ball in the middle, and you have to pop that little nose off of it. And it looks like you'd have to take its nose. It's got self-destruct 4. So this is kind of what we talked about. It's got armor 3, which is interesting. It's not bad. Armor 3 is pretty good. Climbing vehicle, expert climber, and programmed. It's got a wicked kick, which is a rainbow dice for melee. It's only 1 mini in the unit. It's a support. It's got 6 health, 4 resilience, white defense die, surge to hit, surge for defense, and the AI attack, the DSD1 self-destruct mechanism. Blast 1, impact 1, 3 red dice. So it's strange to me how many people saw this and said something to the effect of, oh, I was surprised that it was a Spider Droid with self-destruct. I thought for sure that it was going to be for a probe droid. And I'm like, well, probe droid wasn't part of this wave. I mean, we all knew what was already in this wave, so but then again, not everybody's tuned in to all of the news. That's why you need to subscribe, watch all the videos, so you won't be so confused as to think that a probe droid was coming. But do you think a probe droid is coming in the next wave? Could be. Could be an Imperial code, sir. It's a very peculiar dialect. All right, so let's talk about self-destruct. If you have at least 4 wound tokens, perform your self-destruct attack. Now, it's a free action. You don't have to take the free action. It's not like you get hit with 4 wounds, all of a sudden you instantly blow up. No, it's a free action, which means you have to take that action on your turn. And so if you run 3 of these together and I blow up one and it dies, it doesn't make the other ones blow up. Or if it's my turn and I activate my first DSD1 Dwarf Spider Droid, I'm not going to be able to have it blow up and then kill the next one and then kill the next one. Now, granted, I might be able to put some wounds on the next one to put it into the threshold, but it's not like you can't just cause a chain reaction to instantly boom, 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 boom. Can't quite do that. But it could potentially work with saboteurs if you maybe didn't have enough hit points, and then you moved, and then there was a trigger, a detonate keyword that happened after a move, and thus that put you there to be, because you can move self-destruct, right? So self-destruct being a free action, and so that's interesting. But we're going to talk more about self-destruct here in a minute. We got armor 3, which armor 3 is a pretty good armor amount. I mean, which means, and I like that I like the armor 3 value because it's like you're not gonna stop the really big attacks, but it's nice because well, my patrons right now have access to an early battle report where I brought a lot of armor into a build. 5 units with armor, as a matter of fact, is coming up in the next battle report. Patrons at the A-wing level or above get early access to that, so some of them have already seen it. But it can definitely be frustrating when somebody rolls a really large dice pool against a unit that has armor and they get lots and lots of hits, but no crits, and the whole thing goes away. So, so that's the thing. Because even a lot of people, even a lot of impact weapons are only like maybe impact 1, like this one. And so it's like, hey, it's great that you just rolled 11 dice with your Z6, but we don't care. We don't care because you didn't get any crit, or you got 1 crit. Might as well just had 2 dice and or something like that. It's a climbing vehicle, an expert climber. This is also interesting because aren't all climbing vehicles expert climber? I feel like they have those two separated for some kind of future proofing that might never come. Like what climbing vehicle wouldn't be an expert climber? Like what kind of climbing vehicle is going to try, and that's going to be a special, because vehicles normally can't climb, right? Ground vehicles just have to go around stuff. Almost every vehicle has some kind of way to get over terrain anyway. It's either tall enough that it can just step over terrain. And by the way, this can step over a lot of terrain. Look at the height of that antenna. That's going to be important because that means this thing can just walk over the barricades. It's going to be able to walk over a lot of stuff. It's going to have a lot of mobility without having to climb. But then really tall things like the ATST, half the mini is going to be like this tall for that. So this thing is going to be about this tall for half the mini, of course, unless you break off your antenna. I wonder, somebody was talking about maybe like modding the antenna and putting like a little spring thing on there. The problem is then it's not the same height, and the height for this might be actually really relevant. So I wouldn't do something like that because you're going to technically change the height of your mini. But yeah. So like, what vehicle is going to be such that it's designated a climbing vehicle, but that still suffers wounds when it clambers? Like, I don't know. I just feel like climbing vehicle and expert climber should be a different thing. Like, should just be one keyword. It almost feels like it justifies the points because, like, oh, it's got all these extra keywords. First off, I don't know, man. I don't even remember the last time I climbed with a vehicle. It's like one of those things that I just end up not doing as much. I think at the beginning of the game when Legion first came out and we saw like the ATRTs and stuff, we thought we were going to have more vehicles that were climbing. And I feel like it's just one of those things that hasn't happened as much as we thought it was going to happen. And, again, but that depends on your type of terrain and your games. It's definitely fun to be able to play games that have a lot more interactive terrain and dynamic climbing and firing at multiple elevations. It's very fun to do that. Finally, we have the programmed keyword. Another one of the new keywords from the latest rules reference update. You must equip a programming upgrade card. We do know that there are 3 programming upgrade cards coming. We don't know which ones are which, so I imagine those are going to be the next things to get spoiled. And those will probably be either later this week or next week, any day now. Maybe by the time you're watching this, they'll already have been spoiled. So, programs. It just means you must pick one, whether you want it to be, presumably that's going to trigger the AI, or at least help you pick which AI is going to be on there. Perhaps it will have some kind of additional benefits. So it might just be a pick your poison kind of thing, or it could be a bonus that's like you get AI attack, but you also get an aim at the start of your activation. Or it could be AI move, and you also get a dodge at the start of your activation. Or it could be AI blow yourself up. You blow yourself up, but you get to add a die to your your self-destruct or something like that. I don't know. But like that's kind of my hope. I hope it's not as boring as just picking which AI you're going to get, because then you completely negate that whole mechanic by just giving it an order. So hopefully it's AI plus something else. That's my hope, and we'll have to wait and see, because I think the most interesting parts of this card, self-destruct is certainly interesting, and armor is kind of interesting because it's armor 3. But I think the most interesting parts of this card are going to be how you program it, and also which hard points you put on this weapon, on this platform, because As it stands right now, this is a pretty boring unit. Now, we know that there's more to the puzzle than we can see here because there's obviously more upgrades than we've seen yet. But on its own, this would be a really boring unit to just run as is. Well, you couldn't run it as is because, again, you must equip a programming upgrade card. So there you go. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the self-destruct keyword. They kind of reference, a modified version of the rules reference upgrade, or not upgrade, but the the rules reference update that has the some of our new keywords in there. And of course, the self-destruct weapon. A weapon with red self-destruct is a self-destruct weapon. Self-destruct weapons can be used only during self-destruct attacks. The self-destruct 4 keyword allows a unit to use its self-destruct weapon. In this case, the DSD1 Dwarf Spider Droid can perform the self-destruct attack as a free action during its activation if it has at least 4 wound tokens by using its self-destruct 4 keyword. A self-destruct attack is a free action with the following effects. Perform an attack using the unit's self-destruct weapon against each unit, friendly and enemy, at range 1 and in line of sight of the unit performing the self-destruct action. So just like a mine, after performing all attacks, the unit performing the self-destruct attack is defeated and removed from play. Self-destruct attacks are ranged attacks. It's going to be interesting because you're doing each attack, so could maybe, could maybe the first one like trigger a mine, like if you're going after saboteurs and there's like a whole bunch of mines around you, does each one trigger its own mine? Because I feel like you have to do the entire self-destruct attack before there's a timing interval for something else to happen, unless it's something that happens in response to an attack specifically. But yeah, I think there's going to be a couple of FAQ type questions on here because, of course, there's going to be can I attack and then self-destruct? Or if you wouldn't be able to, I guess you wouldn't be able to self-destruct and then attack. I think most times that you use the self-destruct, though, you're probably going to be move. You're going to do 2 moves to get into range. Because I don't think you're going to find yourself in range 1 of everybody, so you want to aim, shoot, and then self-destruct. I don't think that's going to be something that you'd even find yourself with the opportunity to do. So I think most times when you do self-destruct, it's going to be move, self-destruct. However, well, actually, you know what? An aim would be interesting because you can spend an aim on your self-destruct because you're not removed until after all of the self-destruct attacks are done. Against each unit, friendly and enemy, at range 1 and in line of sight of the unit performing the self-destruct action. So I guess you can't perform it against yourself, so you don't hit yourself with the self-destruct action. And the only reason I say that, because you're going to be removed anyway, but I wonder if that could trigger some kind of, when you are attacked, or when, if there's some kind of future cards, anytime, a friendly unit defends against an attack. So I don't think you even would you cannot ever attack yourself. So you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, the self-destruct is interesting. I do think because it's a free action, that you should be able to attack, and you should be able to attack, move, self-destruct potentially. But I guess we'll just wait for the clarification on that, because it seems like it's in the spirit of the same way that the overrun attack works. That we also saw the overrun keyword printed in here, and then Luke Eddy clarified on Twitter that the overrun's supposed to work. It's not supposed to count as your actual attack action. So hopefully you should be able to attack, move, and self-destruct if you want to. Although I don't really think that's going to be the case. I don't think you're really going to be able to get into the right position without doing a double move. I think that's going to be 99% of the time that people actually pull off a self-destruct is going to be probably as a result of a move, bang, move, pop. Kind of like where it turns into a bowling ball, rolls up, and says, surprise, and there we go. All right, so that's going to do it for the DSD1 Spider Droid and Dwarf Spider Droid, and is that what it's called? Yeah, Dwarf Spider Droid. It's almost like DSD1. It's almost like Death Star 1, right? Because every time I see DSD1, I'm thinking of DS1 because they called it the Death Star 1. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool to paint this guy up like a Death Star, though. That's a good idea. I impressed myself with these massively awesome ideas. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing. Stay tuned for more great information, and don't forget not to rub your feet on your partner's pillow, because that's just not very nice.